everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am super excited to share with all of you my recent hauls from Sephora and Beautylish. This is one of my favorite sale seasons of the year with the Sephora Vib Sale and the Beautylish gift card event. And so I picked up quite a few items from Sephora and 2 items from Beautylish, but very special items. So I'm super excited in today's video to showcase them for all of you. For the makeup products, I will do a quick demo. There's not a lot of makeup in this haul because normally I do buy makeup when it comes out to review for you guys, but hopefully this is still interesting for you guys, and especially if you have been curious about some of my skincare favorites, I will be heavily featuring and talking about those. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So let's first go into my Beautylish haul. I picked up this gorgeous brush holder. This is the Sonia G brush holder. You can see her lovely logo there. It's really impeccable in terms of the design and craftsmanship. I've been eyeing this brush holder for the longest time. You can see it's made out of a really beautiful dark wood. And it also holds quite a lot of brushes. So these are not brushes that I bought in the latest sale. Instead, these are mostly Sonia G brushes that I've accumulated over time. Yeah, basically all except this one is Sonia G. So I feel like it's really beautiful to display them in this way. The brush holder is made out of almond wood and has these adjustable dividers here, though honestly they're not the easiest to slide, so I don't think I'm actually going to do much adjustment with this, but I think the defaults are pretty nice. The bottom of this also is lined with suede, and so that protects the base of your brushes. So it's overall just very luxurious, and I love the little curve that it has here. Even though it's overall a very minimalist design, I think those little touches just give it a really nice luxe feel. As a side note, I have been eyeing this for so long that my husband actually last Christmas made me this gorgeous dupe. So you can see it's a little bit bigger than the original Sonia G. This was actually his first woodworking project, and I'm really impressed with the work that he did. I mean, you know, it's not exactly the same as the original, but I think it looks really similar and is super functional. And the dividers that he made are definitely a little bit looser, so you can move them around easily. So just wanted to give him that little shout out because I was super impressed with this one that he made, and this is why I store all of my BK Beauty brushes. I wanted to not store this in a drawer or anything, but keep it out so I could look at it, and so I wanted to put synthetic hair brushes that I don't mind having out in the air. This new holder over here I actually store in that cabinet in my background. So unfortunately I don't actually see it, but that's the price I pay for, you know, storing these natural hair brushes where I don't want them to be out and exposed. Quick note about packaging as well, in case you guys are buying this for someone. It does come in this beautiful luxurious box as well, very festive. And the recycled paper is actually made from paper cranes dedicated to the Memorial Tower in Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. So I thought that was a really cool touch as well. And then you can just open it and the box comes inside. So this is a really lovely gift. This box is quite pricey though. It's $195. And if you guys know how the Beautylish gift card event works, basically you get a $20 gift card for every $100 you spend. So obviously I needed to spend at least $5 more. And so I ended up also picking up this lip brush from Chikuhodo, which I haven't used yet, so I'll have to demo with you guys today. This is my first lip brush. I actually haven't used a lip brush before because I've always kind of felt like it's kind of annoying to have to wash the brush right after use. But I did think this would be nice for a more vibrant lip color where you are a little bit more concerned about bleeding. So I'm excited to use this, and this was like around $16, so I did go a little bit above what I needed, but I consider this brush basically free since I have that $20 gift card. So that's it in terms of the Beautylish haul. Moving now to Sephora, I actually only picked up 2 makeup products from Sephora, which is probably the fewest makeup products I've picked up in recent history from a Sephora Vib sale, but I've recently really been trying to be more mindful with my purchases, since at this point I feel like all of my storage is kind of full of makeup, and honestly I don't actually wear that much makeup on a daily basis. For me it's mostly about self-expression, and so I really never run through makeup products. But I figured these were good staples that would be quite useful in my collection. So first off, we have the Tower 28 concealer, and I got this in the shade 3cc. And I had been on the fence about this for a while because there have been so many concealers that came out this year. And so at first I was like, okay, yeah, I love Tower 28. I have almost all their products. I'm going to pick it up right away. But then when there were just so many concealers coming out, I figured I would wait and watch some reviews and then decide. And actually, originally I was going to buy the Gucci concealer based on the reviews because I wanted to treat myself. It's really beautiful packaging, has had pretty positive reviews. But then I tried it in store and it just seemed a little bit too sheer for my taste. So usually with concealer, I prefer a little bit more coverage and then to sheer it out so I don't have to kind of build up the product on my face. Whereas that one definitely had a pretty light coverage to start and then needed multiple layers. So then I actually tried this concealer and the House Labs concealer. I did like both of them, at least just based on my, try on in store. But I ended up going with this one just because it did feel a bit more hydrating. And if I look at my current concealer collection, especially for the drier winter months, I feel like I don't have that many very hydrating concealers other than my Dior Forever Skin Correct, which is the concealer I recommended in my Sephora VIB sale recommendations video. Definitely check that out if you guys haven't already. But that's been the concealer I've basically been wearing all the time lately, and so I wanted something that was kind of similar to that, but still different enough to warrant picking up something new. And I figured this one seemed like it was a bit more natural leaning than the Dior because that's a very perfecting concealer. So we'll have to try that out today. And then the other makeup product I picked up was the Westman Atelier powder. I got this in the shade Creme, which is for medium skin tones. And this is super luxe. It comes in this cute little bag here. Though I always feel like these dust bags are lost on me because I never actually use them. I usually keep them for a while because I feel bad getting rid of them, but then I don't really have a use case. And then here is the gorgeous, it looks like probably refillable packaging based on this hole on the back. It is a very heavy, very luxe metal packaging. And inside we have the lovely sort of yellow toned powder. This is definitely a pretty small powder. I feel like it's about the size of my Pat McGrath under eye powder, but this is sort of an all over the face powder. I decided to get this because I've been looking for a new pressed powder for a while. I have a lot of loose powders, but I've gotten to a point in my makeup journey where I don't really care for the fuss of loose powder. I hate how it just kind of gets all up in the air. There's always some left over on my desk and stuff like that. So I've been really using my pressed powders more. And even though there's some that I really like the Pat McGrath, I feel like there aren't that many that I like as much as my loose powders. Like I really love my Chikuhodo loose powder, for example, and also enjoy the Huda Beauty and By Terry loose powders. And so I figured it was about time to branch out, and I haven't actually seen many reviews of this Westman Atelier powder, but I was very attracted by the gorgeous packaging, and I have been very curious to try a bit more of Westman Atelier, so it's not really the best rationales for getting such an expensive powder. I think this is like $75, which is more expensive than almost any of my other powders, especially probably per gram given just how small this is. But we'll see. We'll see today whether it's worth it and also whether this creme color works on my complexion. So zooming you guys in a bit, let's first go in with this Tower 28 concealer. And I picked this up in a relatively light shade. This is definitely way lighter than my other concealers, and as you can see, lighter than my skin tone as well. But that was intentional because I kind of realized that most of my concealers I bought to really match my skin tone or have some color correcting. And so especially right now in the winter time, I don't really have a go-to brightening concealer. And so that was the motivation for this guy over here. But it's definitely, if I were buying this online, I probably would have picked a higher shade, but I went in store and I was like, yeah, this one seems like the undertone is decent and it does have that brightening effect. So we'll see how this goes. It might end up being too light for me, but my hope is that it adds a bit of versatility to my collection. And I'm just blending this in with my BK Beauty 506 brush. So it is a pretty thick serum-y consistency. A little bit definitely goes a long way with this. And it does seem to be quite hydrating. I'm actually really curious how eyeshadow is going to apply on top of this, because often if I'm being a bit lazy, I do enjoy just putting concealer on my eyelids instead of primer. But I am wondering whether this will be a little bit emollient and lead to creasing. Overall though, blends in very easily and I think it has pretty good coverage. I don't really think I need any more, and especially if this were just kind of an everyday basis, I would just leave it at that. I wouldn't even go in with foundation. But because I am gonna powder things, I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and add some foundation and brows and be back. And we're back. So I quickly slapped on some additional makeup. If you're curious what's on my face, definitely check out the description box. So now let's take a look at how this concealer is looking. So I still haven't powdered my face, but I did use some powder bronzer and blush. I am getting some creasing under the eyes. I mean, not surprising given how emollient this concealer is. Overall, I think it's looking good. It is definitely a bit light on me. I guess I'm just not used to this level of lightness because I don't have any other concealers that are quite this light. So I am slightly questioning my decisions, but we'll see. I will also mention I am getting a little bit of smudging on my eyelids. I have my Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadow and then some Wayne Goss eyeliner, which normally would not create this sort of smudging, but I think it's because the concealer is pretty emollient and so there's a bit more slipping and sliding on the lid area. So in the future, I probably wouldn't put this on the eyelids before eyeshadow. So now going in to the powder. I will say one downside of this is the mirror is super small, so you definitely need to have another mirror on hand. But let's go ahead and sweep this under the eyes and just kind of around where I put that concealer, because that's where I need to set things the most. And this is a Clean Beauty talc-free powder, so part of what I'm really curious about is whether it will perform as well as my typical powders do. So here we have this side of my face powdered and unpowdered on this side. Taking a closer look, I would say that it's definitely set, but also, let me actually bring you guys all the way in. I don't know if you guys can see, but I feel like here it did not react well at all with the concealer. It's sort of balled up. Okay, that's not great. Interesting. Normally never happens to me. I mean, it's okay if I kind of brush it out, but can you guys see it just really balled up my concealer? Weird. Yeah, it's not looking that flattering around the mouth either. Well, that's unfortunate. So yeah, this combination is definitely a no-go. I'll have to try this out with other complexion products to see if this is just a problem with this concealer being so emollient or whether this is a problem with the powder, but that's not great. I don't feel like it's really having any blurring effect either. It basically is just setting my makeup but then clumping up my concealer, which is not the intended effect. So yeah, very unfortunate. Not a great first impression to say the least. So I'll have to update you guys in terms of how this fares, but especially considering this is like $75, I'm really not impressed because the concealer wasn't looking great before this, but it definitely is looking pretty bad now. So now before we get into the rest of my Sephora haul, I did want to show you guys this lip brush in action as well. So I brought out my Bond number 9 lipstick. This is my most luxurious lipstick, and I only demoed this for you guys once on camera, so considering how fancy this lipstick is, I thought, why not bring it out again for this demo? So I'm just going to use a little bit on this brush and sweep this on the lips. Wow, I can't believe I literally just went right outside my lip line, even though the whole point of this is that it should be more precise. Side note, I probably should wash this before using it, but oh well, I'll wash it afterward. I think the brush will probably soften a little bit after being washed. But yeah, it applies kind of a sheer layer to begin with. I feel like when I'm scraping the product off like this, it doesn't actually pick up a ton of pigmentation. It also kind of pushes the lipstick back into the tube. I think this lipstick, straight from the bullet, is pretty high pigmentation. So it's interesting to see it kind of sheared out with this brush, because originally I thought this would have the opposite effect, that it would really kind of make my lips look super pigmented. But as you can see, this actually is giving me more of a blotted lip look. Just to illustrate that more, I'm actually gonna go in now directly with the bullet so you guys can see the difference. So you can see with a couple swipes directly from the bullet, we get a lot more pigmentation. Let me actually now just use this to clean up the edges a bit. Alrighty, still not the smoothest edges ever, but I think that'll do. So overall, I mean, this is my first time using a lip brush, so this is also probably just a user problem, but I do think I need to play around with this a little bit more to get that sort of crisp, vibrant lip that I originally was thinking about this for. That said, this was surprisingly very good at the more kind of soft, blotted lip, so maybe it's more of an expectation thing. I should be using this on days when I want a softer lip instead of a more defined lip. So now that I have the final makeup look on, let's get into the rest of my Sephora haul. So first off, I always use the Sephora Vib Sale, especially the one in November, as an opportunity to pick up skincare gift sets. This is basically me stocking up for as much of the year as possible. And that's because I feel like with just the 20% off discount, it's often not actually that much better than what you get from the brands themselves. They usually, at various points of the year, will have 20% off sales, or at least 15% off. But when you get a set that's already discounted and then you get the 20% off, then that's where the real bargains start. So first off, I have this set from Caudalie. This is one of my favorite brands, and this product over here, their Vino Perfect Serum, is actually one of my overall favorite skincare products. This is definitely my favorite serum in that most serums I feel like I don't really notice much difference, and for me personally, my skin is very sensitive to vitamin C. So even though I'm very interested in the properties of vitamin C, I really like things that can be more brightening for dark spots or that can help with hyperpigmentation. I've never been able to find a vitamin C serum that works for me, but that's where this guy comes in, because even though it's not vitamin C, it's something that has that brightening property. And so I've really enjoyed this. Also, unlike a lot of serums where you just kind of put on your skin and it either leaves an uncomfortable feeling or just feels like nothing's there, this has some really nice hydration to it as well. And so given that I do have dry skin, I feel like if I use this plus moisturizer. It just adds some extra hydration to my skin. In terms of the other products here, I have tried their cream in the past in one of these sets, and it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it like really stands out to me, but I like it. And I have not tried the eye cream, so that's new to me. But basically the cost of this set is pretty much equivalent to the cost of just this bottle, so that's why I like picking this up. And Caudalie does have this sort of set pretty much every year that features this serum plus some other products. So this is at least my second or third year picking this up, and I would highly recommend it. Next, we have this set from Farmacy. This is their Honey Dewy Duo, and I really love their honey range. I have tried their hydrating ceramide moisturizer before. I previously got a full size of that, and I really, really loved it. It's just very, very luxe, has such a lovely honey scent that's very sweet and comforting, but not like cloyingly sweet. And it also has quite luxe packaging. So the top is wooden and magnetized, so you can store your little spatula on top and it just sticks, which I think is quite nice. I have not tried their eye cream before, so this will be kind of new. Last year I got their set that came with this and then their honey mask, and I really enjoy that product as well. It sort of warms your skin and hydrates it at the same time, so it's a very unique, very luxurious mask that also has that beautiful honey scent. So this is my second year picking up the honey set from Farmacy and would also recommend this. It's just a very nourishing basic moisturizer that's still super luxe. Speaking of luxe, I also got this set from Tatcha. I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but this is also a set I got last year, so I am very familiar with these products. And actually this time it's, I think, pretty much the exact same set, so I'm familiar with all of the products. So I do really enjoy the Dewy Skin Cream from Tatcha. In general, I've loved all of the moisturizers I've tried from them. If you're not familiar with the brand, they have a water cream, which is sort of the lightest weight moisturizer. That's my preference for the summer months. And then they have this Dewy Skin Cream, which is much richer and really great for the winter months for me. They also do have their Indigo line with their overnight cream, which I also enjoy, though that one I definitely can only wear overnight and don't really like it during the day under makeup or sunscreen. And so for this year, they did have another set as well with the Indigo line, but I decided just to pick up this one, which has the Dewy Skin line. In addition to the moisturizer, it comes with a serum, which is quite nice, and also their rice wash, which is a very effective and surprisingly economical wash. And what I mean by that is you actually need just a tiny, tiny bit of the product, and it foams up a lot and really cleanses your skin. So if you like cream, foamy cleansers that feel pretty effective, even if you have drier skin, then I do recommend this product as well. In general though, I've enjoyed all of the products that I've tried from Tatcha. They are quite pricey though, so kind of similar to the previous two sets, they're products that I probably wouldn't buy full price because, I mean, you know, you can get a really nice moisturizer that's not that expensive. But with the holiday season and with these discounts, I feel like it's justifiable to splurge and get these nicer, more luxurious versions. So now let's get into some new products. So this is the Tatcha Body Milk. I have not tried this before, but I was influenced by Charlotte Holdcroft, who mentioned this in her recommendations video. And for context, I'm someone who just always uses the CeraVe body lotion all over my body. I am fairly sensitive to scents, and that's a pretty good, very basic body cream that doesn't irritate my skin at all. That said, for some reason, when I was watching her video, I was just really tempted by how she described this product. And it's called the Hinoki Body Milk, and I love the smell of Hinoki wood. So here we are. I decided to treat myself and spend way more than I ever had on a body lotion. And fortunately, this is much bigger than I was anticipating. I thought this would be like half as big, so I'm glad, given how expensive it was, that it is on the larger side. But we'll have to see how this goes. Like I said, I'm usually kind of sensitive to fragrances, but I have enjoyed everything from Tatcha thus far, and I do like Hinoki, so hopefully this just kind of adds a bit more luxury to my evening routine. And another product that came from a Charlotte recommendation is this Charlotte Tilbury Invisible UV Flawless Primer and Sunscreen. So this is also very expensive, way more than I've ever spent on sunscreen. I think the Body Milk was like $45 and this was $55, which, considering how teeny tiny this is really, really pricey. But I am someone who is always on the hunt for better sunscreens. I wear sunscreen every single day, and so it does make a big difference to me how the feel is on my skin. And recently I've been using the Round Lab Birch sunscreen. I'll put the name down below, but that one was really viral for a while, and I do really like that sunscreen. I would highly recommend that. It's way more affordable than this one. But again, in the spirit of kind of treating myself and exploring more of the luxury formulas, I wanted to try this out because I do love Charlotte Tilbury, and also I do really enjoy her skincare, specifically Magic Cream, which I actually considered buying in this haul as well, but then finally decided not to because I bought all those other moisturizers. But I am just very curious how this will go, because generally one thing I do struggle with sunscreen is most of them don't sit that well under makeup. And also I'm someone who pretty much never uses primer, because I feel like after I put on moisturizer, sunscreen, to then put on primer on top and then go in with a complexion product just feels like way too many layers on my skin. So I'm hoping that this will basically give me the impact of primer while being a really nice sunscreen. So if it could do that double duty, then I think it'll be worth it to me. And the final product I got is this little duo from Fresh. It has their famous soy face cleanser and also their rose deep hydration eye cream. So I also always pick up this set every year because I love the soy face cleanser. So it always has this, and then this smaller product changes each year. I think last year it was their rose face mask. But I like picking this up because this is probably one of my all-time favorite cleansers. So for face cleanser, I typically just use like the CeraVe face cleanser if I don't really have any makeup on my face. So in the mornings, that's what I go in with. And then in the evenings, I usually go in with a bit of a more heavy duty cleanser. So for example, that Tatcha Rice Wash one is a great one. And I also really like this for the evenings as well. It has a really lovely cucumbery scent, so it's very refreshing on the skin. And also I feel like it does a good job of taking off any residual makeup while not stripping my face at all. Because I do have a drier skin type, I really do not like the feeling of my face being just like completely scrubbed clean and raw. I like it to still feel comfortable afterward if there's any time in between washing my face and putting on my skincare. And for me, this really fits the bill. It's just a very reliable, very pleasant experience cleanser that just ticks all of my boxes. So if you're in the market for a new cleanser, or you just want a nice stocking stuffer, I would recommend this as well. So that's it in terms of all the products I picked up in these recent sales. I would love to hear in the comments if you guys have picked anything up, and if you've tried any of those new products that are new to me, definitely let me know what your experience has been, since it'll probably take me a while to kind of formulate my thoughts on them. So that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!